At the beginning of 2024, India made a sensational announcement that will change the space race in this decade. India has unveiled for astronauts who will manage the country's very first mission to launch into orbit, which India plans to launch next year in 2025. This will be a historic moment for the country, and if successful, India will become only the fourth country in the world after the United States, Russia and China, which independently sends people into space. We all know perfectly well that India is a high-tech country. India is developing the Gaganyaan project, an attempt by the Indian Space Research Organization to demonstrate for the first time the human ability to fly into space mission. The ISRO plan involves launching a 3-person crew into a 400 kilometers geocentric low Earth orbit for a 3-day mission and their safe return to Earth. The mission is currently scheduled to fly sometime in 2025, and it will be the first crewed spacecraft under the Indian Manned Space Flight Program, announced by Prime Minister Narendra Modi back in August 2018. Building a ship capable of space travel is not an easy task, even without additional complications. The orbital module consists of a capsule for the crew and a service module of the former. It is a living space with an environment suitable for people, housing crew life support interfaces, onboard systems and deceleration systems in a double-walled structure consisting of a metal-sealed internal structure and a pressure-free external structure with a thermal protection system, and is designed to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere to ensure the safety of the crew. During the final descent, the service module is designed to provide the necessary support for the crew capsule while in orbit. It is an unpressurized structure containing all thermal systems, propulsion system, power system, avionics and deployment systems. It also consists of a crew evacuation system powered by a set of high-speed, solid fuel engines with high combustion speed, which ensure the withdrawal of the crew module to a safe distance. In August 2023, they successfully conducted a series of tests on the deployment of parachutes with medicines at the Rail Track Rocket Sled facility in Chandigarh, India. During 3 comprehensive tests conducted at the facility, a number of real-world scenarios were simulated to carefully assess the characteristics and reliability of drug parachutes. Note that drug parachutes are just 2 out of 10 appendages that make up part of the braking system. The mission is currently in the vehicle testing phase. In October 2023, the D1 test vehicle was launched, which successfully demonstrated the separation of the crew module and safe recovery after a flight interruption. The crew evacuation system works as intended. The whole project is going according to plan. In the coming months, ISRO has already planned to conduct about 20 major tests, including 3 HLMB-3 unmanned flights, the last of which will involve a humanoid robot named Vitra to help perform flight functions. India has done well in the field of robotics and artificial intelligence over the years. The next major update to the project occurred in February 2024, when the Prime Minister of India announced for astronauts shortlisted by the Indian Air Force to participate in the mission. Space travel next year, only 3 of them will become part of the crew. A very careful selection was carried out for the mission to space. For example, the needs of candidates must have a degree in science, as well as at least 100 hours of flight experience in a jet engine to participate in the company's space programs in the Gaganyaan mission. The minimum age of candidates must be 39 years old. How ISRO reached this particular age remains unknown, but we assume that it has something to do with flight experience. In any case, joining the space program required Indian Air Force pilots to voluntarily submit applications. Chief of ISRO S. Somat says that more than 15 pilots applied, of which 12 were initially shortlisted. Then the list was reduced to 10 before the last 4 were selected. But getting into the last 4, this is a rigorous process that includes interviewing pilots to assess their reactions, mental state, how they cope under pressure, emotional state, and so on. A detailed medical screening process is used, and candidates must also meet strict height and weight requirements to ensure that they can comfortably reach all controls in the capsule. Shortlisted candidates then move on to pre-training, which includes exposure to an environment that simulates the microgravity of spaceflight. This is usually achieved by placing pilots in an airplane that flies along parabolic trajectories to achieve weightlessness for short periods of time. The Air Force only started allowing female pilots to fly their fighter jets in 2016, which means they don't have the level of experience required by men who have been flying much longer, and since there are no official restrictions on women applying to become astronauts. Perhaps in a future mission they will for candidates for the Gagin mission in 2025 will be on the crew. They were selected after the final round of preliminary training in Russia. India has been studying and conducting tests on Russian space bases for a long time. Currently, Indian astronauts are continuing their training at the new astronaut facility in Bangalore, India. Prior to this stage, they had undergone more general astronaut training for spaceflight, but from now on, the training is designed specifically for the Gagin mission. This stage includes many in addition to this, for astronauts also receive a Master of Technology degree from the Indian Institute of Technology in Mongolia. India's journey into space exploration began in an organized way when the Indian National Space Research Committee was established in 1962, and in 1969 it was renamed the Indian Space Research Organization as part of the official space research program in the early 70s. By 1975, it had built the first Indian satellite Arabat, which was launched by the Soviet space agency Interkosmos. By 1980, ISRO had developed a small launch vehicle that successfully launched the RS-1 satellite into orbit, making India the seventh country capable of carrying out orbital launches. All this suggests that India is steadily developing its own space technologies, even though they do not enjoy the same visibility as NASA. Most recently, the space agency attracted attention with the Chandrayaan mission in August 2023, when it successfully landed on the Moon in the southern part of the Moon. The pole made the first soft landing of mankind in the region, which caused an even bigger wave, is that it managed to do this with a budget of only $75 million from the point of view of the space agency. This is extremely modest for comparison. Russia's Luna 25 mission to fly to the Moon cost $200 million, and it was still unsuccessful. Nevertheless, let's hope that a fourth participant will appear in the space race India. Subscribe to the channel and like it, and you will be aware of the latest space discoveries, as well as missions in our endless universe.